everybody, this is Skeet.
My name's Moshin Mikey.
Rock and Roll Roundtable.
Absolutely presented by our good friends, again at Moshman Media.
This week, bands you love to hate.
Oh, unduly most of the time too, like unjustifiably. A lot of bands, just for whatever reason, get hated out and put into this box or made fun of constantly. And some of them, okay, I'm not against making fun of, because some of them I do myself think are ridiculous, or I don't like their music or their arrogance or whatever. But some just don't deserve it. And there's so many that there's a big handful that everybody seems, it's like they're always on every meme you see. And you got a big majority constituent of people that say, we don't like you, you know. And I got a list, my little bit of list, that I have some that are probably justified in my mind, and then some I don't really understand the hate. I'm like, okay, maybe they had a moment in time where they said something stupid, or they had an album that wasn't up to par with some of the other, but it's not enough for me to be hateful on. And I'll start with the first one. And this one's not a rock or metal person, but the thing about this one is it's probably the biggest we've seen for a long, long time. But all she does is laugh in our face and collect her checks. It's Taylor Swift.
Oh.
Because all the rock and hard rock and metal people, even the country people that are mad because she defected to pop music, hate this lady, hate everything she does. And, the kids love her, the younger kids, and adults too, but a lot of teens and tweeners, they really love Taylor Swift because, that's her music, the pop style. You gonna tell me just because you crossed over a genre that you deserve all this hate? I mean, we've seen it done. We had a whole episode about people crossing over genres. So the country folks, I think they're used to it. I don't think it's them. I think it's a lot of adults that my age, your age, younger even, that just envy the hell out of her. Why is she the superstar? And to be honest, music-wise, I don't really get it. But it's not designed for me. It's not anywhere near what I listen to on a daily. Even her country stuff, I listen to country here and there because, I have my wife and I do go to festivals with her and stuff. But I didn't think her country music was like bad. But I didn't think it was like, oh my, praise God, it's this great person. So I don't know why the phenomenon hit. And you have a lot of people talk about her that's something demonic, satanic. You get into any excuse why she's popular. But I think she's just hated for really no reason other than the fact that you might be pissed that somebody like her got to that magnitude of stardom. And I do get tired of watching her on football games. I don't care that she's dating a guy in the football game, and I don't care that she's there watching him play. I really don't give a shit. But that's how popular she is. It's kind of like LeBron James as a sports guy, back in the day. Anywhere he went, they're like, oh, here's LeBron. Who cares where LeBron is, man? Nobody cares. I don't even watch the NBA. I don't really care. So that was just that's an honorable mention for me here because it's not rock and it's not metal. But I do think she gets way too much hate. That's just me.
Me personally, I like some of her country songs. and a couple of her pop songs were kind of catchy, but it's like you said, it's not really rock for me. I mean, I think a lot of people uh, get rubbed the wrong way when they start saying, "Oh, she's the greatest guitar player." I've seen a lot of hate for that because
That's
that
probably justified. That's
that's kind of
justifiable.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like yeah, okay, whatever, sure, no.
No.
So you know what I'm saying? Okay, whatever. But yeah, that's a good example of someone that got a lot of hate. I mean, I figured your first one was going to be Nickelback,
Yeah, but
which we have talked about before.
yeah,
They get a
Nickelback's
lot of
huge.
hate.
And in our world, yeah. But I'm just saying, I think Taylor's gotten more overall number wise. But Nickelback definitely the longest. They've been enduring this for what 20 years now. Everybody makes fun of you for liking Nickelback, or I was gonna give you a piece of shit for Christmas, but I gave you a Nickelback CD instead. I mean, really harsh stuff sometimes. And I was one of those guys that I liked a few Nickelback songs, but I wasn't about to tell people that. And that makes me feel bad now. It's like I just don't want to hear about, oh, you like Nickelback, you must be, this or that.
Yeah,
You're Twinkle Toes if you like that. It's stuff like that. But I gotta be honest. I mean, I heard the songs through the years. I thought they were okay. Not great, but did good. I saw them live last summer, and that sometimes changes your thoughts on them. And I still not a big Nickelback "I Love You" kind of fan, but I do respect them a hell of a lot more. And they have way more songs that are really good than you can even fathom. You would be, you're listening to the set. Oh, I
yeah,
forgot that's Nickelback. I forgot. So I don't find it, other than Chad being kind of an arrogant, pompous guy at times, which that can cause a lot of hatred.
yeah,
I don't think they deserve the hate either. I think you can just say, it's not my cup of tea. Why do you have to take it the extra mile and just bash on somebody else's art?
yeah,
There's a lot of music I don't like that and people like it, and I'm like, I don't understand it, but whatever, you know. And this is one of those for me. It's like seeing them live definitely pushed them up a little bit, but I always in the back of my mind, I thought they got too much hate. I didn't think it was justified.
yeah. I agree. I mean, they've had some pretty good material that really didn't get played off of some albums. It was really good.
All right.
So I think a lot of it was the jokes and the teasing, and it's just after a while, yeah, it kind of gets old. I'm sure they got sick and tired of being the butt of all jokes, but they had a streak. They had a streak there where they were pretty hot, and they
Yeah.
just got
Oh yeah.
overplayed. They just got overplayed so much. But what was there at the time to take that space? Nothing. So you get thrust in the
True.
spotlight. You get thrust in the spotlight, and people get tired of it. I mean, I, how many people get tired of the same rotation on the local radio station? You know,
Me? Yeah.
they
I
play
hate them. I hate
the
them all.
the classic rock station plays Led Zeppelin, great band. They play Pink Floyd. They play what Metallica, and that they play,
Yeah.
and they just overplay the stuff, and it's like it's no surprise that people kind of get tired of hearing the same stuff.
Yeah.
So
If it's not a song, it's a band. They play the same
yes,
group of bands all the time.
so those bands are fucking great and have earned their spot in history, but you get sick of hearing the same songs from those bands. So that might
Right.
be a lot of what's going on with the bands that you love to hate. I mean, You just get
It
tired of
is.
hearing it all the time.
And a lot of the overexposure is not their fault. I
Exactly.
mean, at the time, you got to have a record company or promotion company greasing the wheels at these iHeart radios and all that to play your song every hour. I mean, it's really not your fault, but you got to expect that if that's what you want, you're going to have to deal with some adversity, some more than others. And for like my second band is Five Finger Death Punch. Okay, because I am not a big fan of Five Finger Death Punch as far as music and stuff. They get a lot of hate. Dad rock, grandpa rock is what they're getting called now. The singers style they don't like. My biggest bitch about honestly, my biggest bitch about Five Finger Death Punch is some of their songs I believe are corny. They sound corny to me, like just ridiculously put together. But mostly the biggest bitch I have with them is all you hear one song, you've heard them all. It doesn't matter if it's original or a cover, they all sound the same. So if you really like the one song that Five Finger Death Punch has, you're going to be an insane fan of Five Finger Death Punch. I would thought the song was meh when and I hear that meh 80 times. It's still meh, It's irritating meh
Okay.
at that point.
So give me an example of the song that you listen to, because my whole bitch with them is their fucking covers are okay, but when he sings some of the covers, I'm just like, could you fucking oversing it a little bit more?
Yeah,
It
or
just
whatever they
seems
do. Yeah,
like he's over singing, and it doesn't come across as genuine to me
right.
on the covers that they do, and those they really push the covers a lot
Yeah,
on
yeah, yeah, yeah.
local.
They play
Yes, if
way
you
too
hear a
much. Yeah,
song from them, it's not going to be one of their original songs. It's going to be one of the fucking covers. So
right.
that kind of pisses me off, and that's not their fault, except for they put the covers out.
But all their originals sound the same too, and they sound like the covers. It's like the Bleeding came out when they first came out, and the Bleeding came out. I thought this is decent. This is a different kind of band. He's got a distinctive voice, blah blah blah. They had a little bit of a breakdown kind of feel in the part, but then they come out with the rest, over it, and over and under it, or Champagne and Champlain. It's the same. He goes down in his vocals at some point and then busts out with a higher edge, but there's no surprise me in there. It's the
Okay.
same formula over and over and over and over, but it works for him. And I think there's another band that does the same thing that has had way more success and not as many people hate, but it's Godsmack. Godsmack's very much on that. They
Yes.
have the
Yes.
same formula, but I think their songs are just a little better. And their singers a little better, their guitars a little better. They're just a touch better than Five Finger Death Punch, so it puts them on a different plane. And they're a little more willing to go off the. Some of their last couple albums, they've had piano ballads on them. They've had, Godsmack's more willing and able to make that, a jump, transition, whatever you want to call it. So I seen Five again when you go see them live. I respect Five Finger Death Punch for when they played live because they were on it and they played the song, but the songs were just still mad at me. So I don't hate them. I just don't like them much. That's if I say it on Five Finger Death Punch. And I think a lot of people that don't like them are the real heavy, brutal deathcore, metalcore, because they call them kind of sissy dad rock. That's my opinion anyway.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you brought up Godsmack, because that was right along the same line. I don't hate them. I've seen them live, and goddamn, they put on a great fucking show.
Yes, yes, they
But
do.
you're right. Their songs are pretty fucking similar. that where
Yeah.
if you hear one Godsmack song, you're probably going to recognize that same formula. So I'm glad you
Yeah.
brought that up. Yeah,
And the
but they
beauty of
don't
that
get the
is,
hate.
yeah, they don't get as much hate. And it's like the beauty of that being in that same style all the time. You write one hit song, you're going to be good for a while. You can't really, that's their style. I get it. But sometimes you really just got to try to jump jump out of your safe space once in a while. Try something different. My next one, I got a couple that are kind of similar for the hatred. Number one is Ghost. Okay, a lot of people don't like Ghost because they're not metal, because they're really light music. They do this the whole spiel with the ghouls, and the Tobias Ford's is kind of changing his character and their music's symphonic more than like a normal group. But I never heard Ghost themselves refer to their music as metal. I've never heard that. So I think they get a lot of hate for saying, they most of their hate comes from "you're not metal," and they've never proclaimed to be metal. It's comes from other people. Oh,
Yeah,
this new band Ghost, and everybody thinks the way they're dressed and stuff. You thinking, oh man, it's gonna be some heavy shit like Behemoth when they come out in all their gear and they're just satanic as hell. And they say Ghost comes out with danceable rock pop music, but they're still doing the parts of like what you would think is gonna be this elaborate satanic praise and worship session. And it's just them out there playing this lighty pop music. And I like it. It's very catchy, very addictive to listen to. I don't think they deserve any of the hate because they're not the ones boasting about how heavy they are.
yeah.
That was somebody else that put that in there. So I give them no hate at all on my end. That's
I
just where I sit.
I've heard a couple songs, and it just for me, it just their look did not fit their music.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's
I
true.
was
Yeah.
expecting something like you said, some this real heavy. Oh, this is and I was like, what? Okay,
Yeah,
all
Square
right,
Hammer, man. Square Hammer. If you never heard Square Hammer, that's the one you got to hear. But
okay,
anyway, we'll go up to like this is Ghost S, and it kind of this is the rock metal version of Taylor Swift, if
okay,
you really want to say it. It's Sleep Token because people are really bitching about Sleep Token, how they're nobody knows who they are, and they call everything they do a stick, a spiel, and that they'll go off of like an R&B sound on one song. They'll do like a screamo version on another song. Then they'll have breakdowns on another song. So they bitch and say, "Well, you guys don't even know who you are." I say, "That's fantastic. I love that they're doing a lot of all these different stuff." The whole stick with not knowing who they are, man, it got so many people to even check them out. It's a marketing fucking gold mine because people they're Googling this guy, trying to see who the singer is, trying to find out who two is, who's the drummer. They're all numbers. So it's like the singer's Vessel, and then you got two, the guitar player's three. You go to a Google and ask how many times people have tried to find out who these people are. And not to mention that they had a monumental year this year. People were like, I don't get it. I don't understand it. It's like, okay, but that's fair. But why do you hate them for it? Why are you saying this band sucks? No, they don't suck. What they do is not fit into your square little box. They want to do different stuff, but they're vocally, they're fucking phenomenal, dude. And it's like they definitely don't deserve the hate, but I can understand the hardcore listener to a certain genre not understanding these guys at all. I can see it, but it's not fair to hate them for it, in my mind. Now, some people are kind of become lukewarm on them, don't listen to them as much now. It's like I don't listen to them a lot, but I respect them. I think music, like I said, performance wise, they're out of the park, man. And it's like I might not love their music, but they get unjustified hate. They really do. That, and I know you don't listen to a lot of Sleep Token and know much about them, but I'm just saying they're in the same vein as Ghost, but a little heavier at times, a little softer at times. So I like that. I'm a diversity kind of guy. I like to listen to different stuff. So that was that one. Now I'll move on to another one. This one I know you will know. It's the big. They were big in the '90s, man, and people have always kind of made fun of them. I don't know if it's more hatred or it's just making fun of this band, but it's like $3 bill, y'all. It's Limp Bizkit
Oh,
because they get slammed a lot for whatever reason. The rap rock, you know, Fred Durst is a douche. You hear, they're just what do you call it? They went sold out. I've heard that expression with them. They sold out and didn't remain true to themselves. And I'm like, true to what? They were rap rock from day one. The first album was off the hook. It was good, man. I mean, I really like. And I've been listening to Limp Bizkit lately just because I heard them on like a cover playlist. They did a cover for Mission Impossible. That song's bad to fuck ass, dude. And I'm like, I never heard this. Why didn't I never hear this? And then I started listening to, the break stuffs, and some of it's corny. I get it. The Rollin' and Nookie and even break stuff can be kind of goofy, but it's a great song. But like the Faith cover, oh my God, that was fantastic, man. I just don't understand why they get hate. I really don't understand at all why you hear their name getting made fun of. They're going to play the Sunoco in Dayton a few years ago. People were sold tickets to that. That Limp Bizkit's going to show up in a Sunoco and play. It's like that's so disrespectful, man.
that's
It
a
just is.
fucking that's been a running fucking joke for years, honestly.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, usually that pops out about the same time, and it's yeah,
420.
that's a joke.
It's always on 420.
Yeah,
It's like. But yeah, I like Limp Bizkit, man. I can't sit here and say I don't. I don't love every song. I wasn't a fan of every album, but they're hits and a few hidden gems that I found. Man, they're solid and they're still doing it. They're back on tour now. It's like, unfortunately, their bass player just passed away this past year, so I don't know their future. But man, I think those guys and they look like fun performers, man. They just look like they're all over the place.
they were good in concert. I gotta see them. They put on
Yeah.
a great fucking show. So I don't have any hate for Limp Bizkit. But then I'm not a huge rap rock or whatever that fucking genre that they fall
Yeah,
into.
it's new metal, but I think they
Yeah.
were like more pure rap, at first. So yeah, but yeah, I'd still like them. And people, I think, more make fun of them than hate them. To be fair, I think they
Okay.
just make fun of them. So the next one is kind of controversial. Maybe you might dig into it, but the whole Metallica Megadeth thing. Some people do not like Megadeth at all. They hate them because it's Dave Mustaine and but all the Megadeth heads hate Metallica for whatever reason. And it's like some people just don't like James's voice, the way he sings. Everybody loves to make fun of Lars's drumming
Yeah.
abilities, which I couldn't do what he does. But yeah, if you're better than Lars, you can make fun of him, I guess. And over the years, I've had some issues with Metallica, to be honest. The whole Spotify thing or whatever it was back then, Napster.
Oh, Napster.
The
Yeah.
Napster deal. I was like, you guys are still making a bunch of money. Little did I know how much Napster makes in the deal. It was great for us to get that music, but Napster's not going to pay them for shit.
Yeah.
It's still that way today. You got to hit like 1 million streams on like a Spotify or Apple to get a couple grand. I
No.
mean, it's just the way it works. But I was irritated about it. And the one that irritated me the most, well, two other things. The bass line, the bass stuff on Justice for All, I thought that was
Yeah.
bullshit. I thought that was a bullshit move. You drop somebody's bass down because you want to hear your little drum set more. And it's Lars mostly. Okay, let's move on. And then I watched the movie, and I just lost a lot of respect for all of them. I really did. I watched Some Kind of
Some kind of
Monster
monster.
way back
Yeah.
then, and I just thought James is kind of a baby about stuff. Lars is an instigator. That he thinks he's way better than he is. This is what I was thinking back then watching the movie. And Kirk's a pussy. He just stayed out of the way. I'm like, I don't have no voice, man. I just play guitar. And it showed the band dynamic, which was great. But then, like, the producer was kind of bossing them around, telling them what to do. It's like, you guys didn't stand up for yourself. So there was a period there where I did not like Metallica. And I wouldn't call it hate. I was just not on board with Metallica. I've never had a problem with Megadeth, though. I think Dave can be an asshole, of course. So can a lot of people. But mostly when I listen to a band, I could care less about what their attitude is. I like the music. But yeah, that's a controversial one
Well,
because
that's a lot of it is, the personality of the band members.
right.
So Dave Mustaine got hate because, back in the 80s, he was fucking on booze and fucking alcohol quite a bit and was very abrasive to fans. So there
Yeah.
for a period, he kind of earned that fucking hate because of his personality. Nobody ever knocked the fucking music. Same way with Metallica. Metallica had a lot of great music, but when you got to see that behind the scenes, because still, they knew that was filming. They knew the shit
Yeah,
was going to
yeah,
go out.
exactly. They knew.
So, you know what I'm saying? You got to see those personalities highlighted for that fucking instant in time, and it kind of turns you sour to it. It's kind of like
Yeah,
he's
a
an
little bit.
asshole, or he's this, or he's that. So, if you don't want that fucking hate, why did you put out a fucking movie where you're pissing and moaning about shit?
Yeah,
I mean, yeah,
exactly.
they kind of came off as whiny bitches at that time. But for whatever reason,
Yeah,
they were trying to heal through whatever trauma. I mean, that whole thing during that time was, oh, woe is me. It's like you're a fucking successful band, dude. Take your
yeah,
take your fucking wins. So yeah, I
yeah,
understand why people got turned off by that or pissed off at Lars.
yeah. I could see that.
I understand it.
Absolutely. And
So
it's just, I don't think it's widespread hate, but there's pockets of it.
yes,
People that just think
yes.
Metallica is another overplayed kind of band. Megadeth's better musically, they say. Well, you hear it. You just see it on message boards and arguments and stuff. So I thought that was interesting. The next one is a big one for me, of course. Kiss. I mean, Kiss, the early days was the theatrical stuff. And, they had the catchy tunes and they did this and they did that. And their later albums were like not good for me. And I'm a Kiss fan. It was like they were okay. I think Kiss's hatred comes. A lot of people say that Kiss, the music sucks. They said the music was terrible. For the 1970s, that music was not terrible to me. I'm a young guy. As a musician now, I could like go back and really pick it apart. But I've tried that. I've listened to the old stuff. I still like it. It's just not very elaborate. It's kind of basic, normal playing and stuff. But I think they get more of the hate from Paul and Gene too. They're oversaturating the market. They have for years. With the Kiss dolls, the Kiss comic books, Kiss movies, the Kiss coffins, the Kiss coffee mugs. The everywhere you look
Condoms.
is Kiss. And And when they became less popular, that looked like a fucking joke. Because you're trying to sell during Psycho Circus and all this stuff. They're trying to sell Kiss, pinball machines for $5,000. They're like, who? What? Who are you talking about? A Kiss? Really? They're not even real. A lot of people lost their love for Kiss. I went from really loving Kiss to like tolerating Kiss. I will never say I'm not a Kiss fan or I hate Kiss, but I could be like, you guys are starting to look ridiculous, at this point. And then they kind of went off and they went off into the sunset and all that stuff. But a lot of people still, and some people are just assholes. They think, oh, Kiss's music is so boring. It's beneath my skill. It's like, fucker, let's see your millions of dollars, asshole. Let's see your millions of dollars for their playing their very basic music, but they played it very well. They marketed themselves uniquely very well. They had a great stage show for years and years and years. So piss off. To the Kiss haters, I say, fuck you. What have you done for me lately? I want to hear your band. And I think the people out there, if they watch the show, they know exactly who they are. And I don't care your opinion for shit, dude. And just saying. I love my Kiss, man. That's why I wore my Kiss today. It's like, yeah. Do you have any extras, or I got one more left if you want to get into that, or do you have
The
somebody
only
we
the
can...
only honorable mentions I was gonna go. Oasis gets a lot of hate. The Black Crows, and again, it's the people in the band that have caused these
Right.
controversies. In my opinion, it's the band's not bad. They've had their music. I mean, fucking Oasis just was selling out over in fucking Europe like gangbusters, man. It was like,
Yeah,
boom, boom, boom. So, you know,
they
even
love
though
them over there.
even though the
Yeah,
brothers fight or they're assholes or what the fuck ever, same way with Black Crows, they got a lot of fucking hate because those two fucking brothers are fighting. So
yeah,
I thought of those. Those were the only two that kind of popped in my head that got a lot of hate. That really it was just because of two guys, and
yeah. I
they
get
had
that.
some good music.
I mean, there's one that's like a big sphere that we could. You got 100 bands that could be involved in this, but we don't talk about this on the show much, and hopefully not. But a lot of people are getting hate for their political stances. I mean, either way, you get some people that are all conservative, the liberals freaking out. Now we're not going to listen to you. Then you got the other side that's saying that we're anti Trumpers or whatever, and some people take that because they come out and say that you don't want me listening to your music. I won't.
Yeah,
And that becomes a thing. You get the whole political discourse. Some people say keep politics out of my music, but the punk rockers, a lot of those old school guys, are now saying, "Well, that's what punk rock is." I don't believe that. Me personally, I don't believe it. But other than the political part of it, there's a couple other bands I think are together in the hatred. Green Day and Blink 182, and it's not a lot of people, but boomers and early Gen Xers like us, they consider that not punk music. They think they kind of ruined punk. They brought too much pop to it. It's like it's too mainstream. It's sellout music. And I used to hear that a lot more back. I don't know, American Idiot kind of came out that timeline, and the Blink stuff was just kind of way too happy. Punk, sometimes you get a group or a pocket of people that think it's got to be angsty, pissed off, political all the time. I say that's nowhere near justified hate. These guys are pop punk pretty much from the beginning. I didn't think the Dookie album was like heavy pop. It was pop. It was catchy. It had pop music to it all the time. Same with Blink. So I think the boomers need to calm down. The ones that really hate them, call them sellouts and stuff. It's like music progresses. And these guys have been playing for 30 years. They've never wavered from what they're playing. They never tried to sell out, in my opinion. Now, their music get a little lighter, sure. They're older. You can't keep that pace and that speed up forever. I mean, some of the songs on the Dookie album were pretty quick. And to play that for 30 years and you're 30 years older, that's not going to be the easiest chore. So I think any of that punk hate is, and the political hate, just whatever, keep it. You can have an opinion. You don't need to broadcast it. I'm not going to listen anyway. So it's just I have my thoughts. You have your thoughts. Skeeter has his thoughts. But music's music, and I want to talk. We talk about the music, and to hate somebody for that shit is kind of
silly. It's just kind of silly.
Anymore it's kind of dumb. It is. But anyway, that's my little list of bands you love to hate. A lot of people will say, I don't know why you're thinking these bands are great. It's like you're right. Most of them are great, but they also get hate. So that's all I got today, Skeeter.
All right. Well, I'm sure there's something you people out there will agree or disagree on. Send us some love or some hate, and tell us what you think. I think you kind of hit on the big ones, and we've talked about some of this before. I understand, but
yeah.
it's a topic that comes up all the time. So we could add some more later on, or we could take away. But the whole thing is everybody's got their own opinion, and that's pretty much how it goes. So
yep.
You gotta love what you love, and you gotta hate what you hate. So,
yeah, absolutely. It's not in my rights to tell you what to love, what to hate, what to do, what to say. So, yeah, I think there's only a couple justifiable bands that get to hate in this whole list, and I'm sure, yeah, we can come back and revisit this with a whole another list too.
yes,
there's all kinds of that stuff going on out there.
So sometimes you just gotta fucking love the art, even if you don't love the artist.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes.
All right.
You're allowed to hate them. Yeah.
All right, let's wrap this up. This is Skeet.
Lush and Mikey.
See ya!
Peace out.